tonight at 10. 5 years after the devastating tornado, Joplin is reaching out to other cities.
I'll show you how they're helping local emergency responders get ready for the worst.
Joplin, the lessons learned, tonight on 4029 News at 10.
And today marks 5 years since one of the strongest tornadoes in history struck the city of Joplin. In an effort to better prepare for a catastrophe of this magnitude, officials from Joplin are reaching out to other cities to share what they learned from that tornado that hit their city. We have Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee with us now to explain why a city in our area could benefit from this.
It's very simple. This all happened very close to us. The EF5 tornado that hit Joplin could one day hit in northwest Arkansas or the River Valley. So any wisdom that can be gleaned from the people who experienced a disaster of this size firsthand is invaluable.
It took a while to really realize how big of an event it was.
Were you expecting anything like this on the day of this tornado?
No.
There are very few cities that know what total catastrophe really looks like. Joplin is one of them.
We had never planned for anything this size.
5 years ago Sunday, 7,500 homes and 553 businesses, according to the National Weather Service, were destroyed or heavily damaged by an EF5 tornado. In an effort to prepare for a similar event, VIsta city officials spoke with the Joplin police and fire chiefs and the Joplin city emergency manager about what they learned immediately following the tornado.
You realize that quickly that you run out of resources rather quickly.
That includes first responders. In the case of Joplin, the homes of several police officers were taken out by the tornado.
How did that affect the response?
You know, it really didn't affect it that much. I think we had right around 4 or 5 officers that at least had some damage, and some of them lost everything. But, you know, they were able to kind of sneak away, if you will, and go and check on them, make sure they were okay, and then they were right back in service.
158 people were killed in the Joplin tornado. Joplin Emergency Manager Keith Stammer says those who survived stayed off the roads and sheltered in place, low to the ground.
Particularly if they had an interior bathroom or an interior bedroom away from windows, they seem to have a high survivability rate as opposed to those who were perhaps in the upper floors of apartment buildings where they caught the full brunt of the wind.
Stammer says the main hospital in town withstood the full brunt of the tornado perhaps better than any other structure in town. Though he does say the upper stories were twisted by the 200+ mile-per-hour winds, and the patients had to be evacuated as soon as the storm passed.
You've got gas and oxygen and nitrogen and biohazards in there, and so they were not allowed to go back in.
And while Stammer says there's no way to ever be fully prepared for something like this, he does say city officials need to build up their network of first responders who can be tapped into if a tornado of this size hits. Any agency within 100 miles should be able to assist your town immediately.
We've really expanded that to for public works as well, health departments, emergency services of all sorts.
Stammer also says they now have the same siren activation policy in place for all of Southwest Missouri. So no matter where you're at in Southwest Missouri, the sirens are always activated for the same reason, either because a tornado is possible or when damaging straight line winds are expected.
All right, Darby. Well, Joplin city officials also say the residents are still recovering, which, as you can imagine, a lot of emotional damage from that tornado, at least. And doctors say it generally takes 3 to 8 years for a person to fully come to terms with a disaster of that scope. And you're here to tell us a little bit more about the path that tornado took. I mean, as we remember, 5 years later.
It's impressive how rapidly it intensified as it entered the city, Paige, and that was one of the most haunting things about this storm. Here's a look at the tornado track as it moved through Joplin. Now, it started as an EF0, as most tornadoes do. This is the lowest on the enhanced Fujita scale. Now, as it moved to the city, it hit EF5 strength very quickly. We're going to go through the tornado track here through Joplin as it moved to the southern portions of the city. Watch it go from an EF0 very quickly up to an EF5, the highest rating there is, through the southern portions of Joplin. just did catastrophic damage, as you just saw in the images that Darby showed. It took a right turn, headed off to the south and east, and dissipated very quickly. Got back to an EF0 as it moved further south and east. Now, I want to show you how close this is to our area. This was the Joplin tornado, not too far from Bella Vista or Fayetteville. As Darby mentioned, it can happen in our area very easy, and there was a lot of damage for this. 200+ mile-per-hour winds, 22-mile damage path, a mile wide, and 158 people killed. Paige?
Yeah, unbelievable. Chris, thank you.